chapter 9:11. This is a violent one. This is death in the pot for today's preachers. It says, "For the children not yet being born, nor having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to your free will, no, that the purpose of God according to election might stand." So that the purpose according to the election of God may stand, not of works, but of him who calls. Listen, the baby is in your belly. The baby is in your belly. You don't know if that's going to be a Fidel Castro. You don't know if that child is going to behave good or bad. This is not by works, it's by him that elects. Do you know that in a big house there are utensils of honor and utensils of dishonor? And everyone is saved. In a big house, in the house of God, in the plan of God's decree, there are vile instruments and instruments of honor. And sometimes there are men that misbehave, but they're saved, as Paul was. He used to persecute believers and obligate them to circumcise themselves. And he killed Stephen. Nevertheless, he's the master builder of our doctrine. In a house, there are many beautiful utensils and wonderful furniture. And you have forks that are of gold and they're silver, and you serve your coffee in a lovely tableware. Luxurious carpets, but there are also toilets and latrines. And that toilet is as important as new furniture. What would you do without a toilet in your house? You have to go out to the yard and hide out there. You didn't like the example, did you? Look, at churches, sometimes annoying people come and sit beside you and say, "Oh, that isn't that way." There are churches that vile vessels come and they come to disturb you to see if you're firm or not. And then you come to me and say, "Man, there are people there that, Pastor, are writing notes as you're preaching and saying that what you're saying is a lie." And they're a vile vessel. And then you're there and he deceived you. Suddenly you left the church. Now there's others that say, "Wait a minute," because that one that left, he's probably left for a little bit, for a little while. And then you run into him and he says, "Man, I've been going through some issues since I've stopped congregating." Well, come back to the decree, brother. Well, come back to the decree. Listen, Peter was with the Lord over there. And Paul, he gave a lot of problems. He was a vessel that God utilized for certain things. Jude was a high caliber bathroom God utilized for certain things. Because Jesus needed somebody to turn him in. And what better than Jude was chosen for that purpose? Christ knew who he was, but he was useful. There are people that mistreat you, call you a hypocrite, but you need them by your side. If you get rid of them, how are you going to exercise your senses in the discernment of good and bad if God doesn't send you someone to deceive you sometimes?